So a while back in my Mufasa review, I mentioned that I was a die-hard Lion King fan, and that is absolutely true. It is my favorite piece of entertainment that exists, and I always want to see as much as I can from The Lion King. And somebody asked me in one of the comments if we could do a ranking of all the Lion King stuff, and I thought that would be so much fun. So that's today's video. We're going to be ranking all of the Lion King movies, TV shows, musicals, theme park attractions. Okay, not every single attraction, just the ones that are currently up and running, because there's some things that happened that I never got to see in person. Some short series, stuff like that. We're not touching the video games because that's a whole nother beast. Or the books. There's so many book tie-ins. No, we're not looking at those. So anyway, let's get to the list. At the bottom of the ranking at number 12, we have Wild About Safety. There was a really weirdly long amount of time where Timone and Pumba and the Lion King in general were really used for educational purposes. It's not bad. It's just kind of weird that they picked wisecracking meerkat and warthog to give all this safety information and teach kids about how the world works. It was kind of weird. And yeah, I thought Wild by Safety was the weirdest one of all of them. Could you just see Timon and Pumbaa like walking around a theme park and how to ride a bus, and it just felt weird. And on top of that, their characters kind of got flanderized. Like, yeah, Timon is not that smart, but acts like he is, and Pumbaa is clearly the smartest of the two, but there is this really cool dynamic where, like, Pumbaa kind of hides his smarts to make Timon feel better, and here, he's not hiding nothing. He's just, like, spouting off every bit of info, and Timon, of course, doesn't listen and gets hurt. It's not a bad concept, but I feel like this could have been stronger if you had a third character, like, you know, Jiminy Cricket or something, who's actually giving all the advice, and Pumbaa's listening, and Timon is not. And Timon wants to eat him half the time. Yeah, now that I think about it, I think that would have been a lot more fun to watch. But anyways, this was kind of a weird point in the Lion King's history. So, yeah, Wild About Safety's down here. Second, we have the short series Unbungalievable, which was part of the Lion Guard. And yeah, this one is, it's kind of like Wild About Safety, except you're learning about animals. So at least it makes sense. But yeah, it doesn't even star any of the main Lion King people. It's Bunga and Ono, which, as we talk about Lion Guard in a little bit, Bunga is one of my least favorite characters in the show, so I have to listen to him more. Not really thrilled about that part. But I mean, they do share some, like, facts about animals, so that at least makes more sense. Next, we have Find Out Why. It was another short series that was weirdly educational with Timon and Pumbaa, but this one at least felt more like their characters, and this one was done, I think, a little bit closer to when the movies actually came out. I think it was part of ABC one Saturday morning, I think. I'm not positive though. But it was weirdly entertaining. So I was like, okay, yeah, this one actually felt like it fit the characters a little bit more. It still feels weird that they're talking about, you know, how electricity works and stuff. But hey, it makes more sense than Wild About Safety, and they didn't flanderize the characters as much here. So, okay, if I gotta learn, this isn't a bad way. So, it goes above Unbungalievable. Next, we have The Lion Guard. I debated about where to put this on the list because I feel really torn with The Lion Guard. Because on one hand, I love what this did for the lore of the Lion King. They added so much. We got to learn about some of the neighboring kingdoms to the Lion King. We got to learn about how delegation even happens in the Pride Lands. We see Simba like meeting with the head of the elephants, the head of the rhinos, the head of the giraffes, the antelopes, the crocodiles, all of it, and it's pretty interesting. We get to see animals outside of Africa. It's weirdly interesting. They just built up this weirdly strong lore to the Lion King, but it is still a preschool show. So for every moment, I was kind of intrigued and like, wow, that actually took a lot of depth and storytelling to create more facets of this world. I met with a really simplistic plot of sharing is good and don't be mean. At least it's not one of those dadgum shows where they have to like stop, look at the camera and go, do you see where the elephant is? I can't stand that. Oh my gosh, I can't stand that at all. but I also realize that it's not made for me and it's not aimed at my age demographic, so I look past all that. But as an adult, I weirdly found more to enjoy here than I expected to find. Like, there's some weirdly engaging character development that happens with some of the characters, like Maku the crocodile, or even some things that happen with the hyenas. And yeah, they even bring back Scar, like the way Mufasa shows up in the clouds, but he shows up in fire. These are really interesting ideas. But then the preschool elements come right back in, and then I get sucked out again. So, not a horrible show, definitely one of the best preschool things I've ever seen, but it's also still a preschool thing. Next is Festival of the Lion King over at Disney World in Animal Kingdom, and I have a lot of mixed feelings about this because on one hand, it is a good show. It is an engaging, entertaining show. The music is really good. The dancing and choreography is like Broadway levels. So there was obviously time and effort put into this, but it also kind of hurts because this is like the only attraction that is Lion King related anywhere in any Disney park at this moment that I'm aware of. Now granted, this will absolutely change once Disneyland Paris gets their Lion King land done and finished with their ride. But until then, this is it. It just feels so weird in the fact that Lion King has had almost no representation in the theme parks for so long. And especially once Animal Kingdom got built, there was a land devoted to African animals. There is a whole area that is just perfect for the Lion King, but instead of putting a ride or a really serious, like, amount of attention and focus on the Lion King, yeah, we got some old parade floats, just throw them into a warehouse, I guess we'll make a show or something. Okay, we're done. But the show's actually good though. Like, on paper, this seems lazy. This seems like they didn't want to do anything. But then in execution, it does have quality to it. And you can tell they didn't just slap something together. So I'm weirdly torn. I'm like, it's a good product, but why didn't we get a ride? Why didn't you do something that was more permanent? But it has been around for decades, so apparently it did really well, so... But we also already have a Broadway version of The Lion King, which, yes, it is not as accessible as this show is, but it's a much better show! It was the Broadway show! Why are we making a less good musical version in the theme parks when we can do something original like a ride? I don't know, especially with how well, like, Frozen got treated after it did well, already having multiple areas devoted to Frozen, multiple rides already made or converted into Frozen rides. Everyone forgets that Lion King was that big of a hit when it first came out too, but it got a puppet show, and that was about it, and also had one short parade where all these floats came from. That's been it, aside from like an Epcot video about climate change. Yeah, that's what I want my Lion King to remind me that the world is burning. But you see what I mean? But I guess I can't complain now because Disney is finally answering my wish that we are getting a Lion King land. It's in Disneyland Paris, but still, I will fly to Paris just to see this land. So Disney, please don't screw it up. I'm very excited, and this feels like a long time coming. Thank you. Next up, we have the Lion King 2019. I know, I didn't despise this movie with a burning passion. So put down your torches and pitchforks and just let me explain. I've already said before, The Lion King is one of my favorite stories of all time. I don't care how badly you tell my favorite story of all time, you still told it. Even if it's poorly done, I'm still gonna enjoy it to some degree. But did I like it as much as the animated movie? Obviously not. We haven't seen it on the list yet. But for what it is, I liked it. One of my biggest passions is African wildlife. You made this look like a wildlife documentary. I watch wildlife documentaries all the time, and it's one of my favorite things to watch. So you take my favorite story and make it look like one of my favorite things to watch. How can I not like this to some degree? Yeah, pretty much every criticism I've heard about this movie is totally valid, and yeah, would have made this film better. But they didn't stop me from enjoying it in the first place, so here we are. Next up, we have the Timone and Pumba TV show. This is probably the weirdest entry into the Lion King canon. Actually, I don't even know if I can call this canon, because it's just weird compared to everything else in the Lion King. It makes no sense, but I kinda love it for its just off-the-wall zaniness. Like, the whole premise of the show is just Timon and Pumbaa being Timon and Pumbaa, which would make sense if they stayed in Africa and did, you know, jungle things, which sometimes they do. But half the episodes are them traveling all over the world. Like, they go to Spain for the running of the bulls. They go to Romania and deal with vampire bats. They go on a cruise ship with a penguin. They find a random whale that can grant wishes that creates an entire castle for Timon and a fire-breathing chicken that no one can defeat. What is happening in this show? Yeah, just about none of this makes a lick of sense, especially because one of the main antagonists that they deal with is Quint, a person, a human being. Humans show up in this show frequently, especially this guy. He's like Bert from Mary Poppins if he was evil, because like every episode that he shows up in, he has a different job doing a different thing, and he somehow ends up being Timon and Pumbaa's antagonist. So yeah, if continuity is what you're looking for, the Timon and Pumbaa show ain't for you. This is all just zany, crazy, cartoon randomness that just happens to star Timon and Pumbaa. And there are a few episodes that aren't even about them. We have some episodes that star Zazu, and some that star Rafiki, and some that even star the three hyenas, Shinzi, Banzai, and Ed, and we even see Simba appear from time to time, although I don't remember him ever having a full episode to himself. He does show up from time to time. But yeah, this show is just weird. But I love how weird it is. It has a very special place in my heart. I was a kid when these were coming out, and yeah, as a kid who couldn't get enough Lion King, these were amazing. And I have so many moments that'll live rent-free in my head forever. But if you haven't checked this out, at least go watch a couple episodes. Everything's on Disney+. So just go have fun and just realize how weird and crazy this world can get. Next, we have The Lion King 2, Simba's Pride. And yeah, this is probably one of the best of the direct-to-video sequels, but yeah, compared to the first one, this is taking a pretty big downgrade, but still pretty good. It's great to be back into the Pride Lands, and I really like the character of Kiara. I thought she was really fun and engaging character, and I also liked Kovu. I really liked his vocal performance, and I liked the character that they created here. He seemed like a very conflicted character, which they're always fun to see. And these songs, y'all, some of these songs still get stuck in my head all the time. Obviously, nowhere as good as the first movie, but man, some of these are still great. Like We Are One, He Lives in You, and Deception. Come on, y'all. Don't tell me you have not gotten Deception stuck in your head more than once. It has absolutely happened. But yeah, the animation did take a pretty big downturn here, and although it really makes sense from a storytelling perspective, if the first film is loosely based on Hamlet, to then go after one of the other Shakespearean ideas like Romeo and Juliet, but I'm sorry, I think the Romeo and Juliet story is just really overused. So now anytime I see it, it used to be engaging, but now it's just kind of annoying. I'm like, oh, we're doing this again. Okay, cool. And not even to mention how much they kind of had to force this idea to happen to like really make sure that, you know, you can tell that Kovu looks like Scar, but he's not actually blood related to Scar, because, you know, that would make them cousins. And, you know, that's not cool. We can't have that. So it felt like they really had to shoehorn this idea in to get it to work. But for shoehorning an idea to work, it could have been a lot worse. So I'm pretty happy with Simba's Pride. Got my issues with it, but it's not bad. Next, we have the latest entry, which is Mufasa. And I think that this did a lot better than the 2019 Lion King did. It addressed a lot of the concerns that people had with like the animals' expressions and things, and yeah, I can see a dramatic improvement. I was really happy just to see a new original story come out in the Pride Lands. I know a lot of people have said that nobody was asking for the story, but I gotta be honest, for years I have been wondering, what was Mufasa's and Scar's relationship like while they were growing up? I'd always been interested by that. There'd always been ideas and stories floating around, but yeah, I'd like something a little more concrete. And although this wasn't the perfect idea that I would have wanted, and yeah, I would have liked to have actually seen them stay brothers for what it is, I really enjoyed it and thought it was pretty good. Yeah, it had its moments, and yeah, the hero story is kind of basic, but, you know, I'm not against it. I had a good time watching it. I've watched it twice now, and I'm excited to watch it again, so I'm pretty happy with Mufasa. Next, we have Lion King 1.5. Spoiler, if I ever make a direct-to-video sequel ranking, this is my favorite direct-to-video sequel. Going back to what I said about Lion King 2, this was a genius idea from its inception. If Lion King is loosely based on Hamlet, work with some other Shakespearean things, and they found Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead, which is the whole side story of what's going on with these two side characters during the events of Hamlet. And they turned that into The Lion King with Lion King 1.5 with Timone and Pumba. And yes, I thought they did such a fun job with this. Does it all make canonical sense? Not really, but you kind of don't need for it to. It's just a fun retelling of The Lion King from a different perspective, and really seeing all of the ways that Timon and Pumbaa have influenced the story in ways you never knew. It's not supposed to be anything too serious. It's just supposed to be fun, and for a fun direct-to-video sequel, yeah, this is one of the best ones that we got. And Dig a Tunnel will forever be stuck in my head from now till the end of time. That is just guaranteed to happen. And although this isn't the same way they met in the Timon and Pumbaa TV show, yeah, let's be real here, this makes a lot more sense and is a lot more canonical. It's just fun, and sometimes that's all you need a show to be. It's just unadulterated fun. Next, we have the Lion King Broadway musical. There is a reason that this musical has been running for as long as it has and is the highest grossing and most successful Broadway show of all time. It is amazing from its inception to the storytelling to the way that the songs incorporate into everything, the new songs that they added. Everything is just gorgeous. If I can't watch the original Lion King, this is my favorite way to get this story. It is so spellbinding in how all the puppetry works, how all of the different animals are brought to life. Julie Taymor did such a great job of just making the entire show feel so unique. And I love the way that so many of the new songs incorporated the score from the film. The Hans Zimmer score and some of these themes. Endless Night and Shadowlands are some of my favorite songs in all of Lion King, period. They are just so phenomenal. But I mean, what do I need to say about this that other people haven't? This is one of the greatest Broadway shows of all time for a reason. It is incredible. So yes, this had to go really high on the list. And at number 1, surprising absolutely nobody at all, is the original, the classic, the 1994 Lion King. Obviously, this had to go at number 1. It was the first thing that ever came out about The Lion King, and it is the best thing that has ever come out about The Lion King, and I will be taking no questions as of this moment. Thank you so much. I don't need to go on about this film for too long because you guys know why it's amazing. You guys have seen this movie. It is by far one of the most beloved Disney movies of all time. I already have like a 20-minute video going over why I love The Lion King so much. So we're not going to go over it too long here. But the story is incredible. The songs are unforgettable. This world is insanely amazing and in-depth. Timon and Pumbaa are some of the best side characters we've ever gotten. All the characters in this movie are just unforgettable. It's the highest grossing hand-drawn animated film for a reason, and it is just incredible. It's amazing. It's majestic. What else can I say about this that I haven't already? But yeah, the king is sitting on his rightful throne as the number 1 thing in The Lion King is the original Lion King movie. So yeah, this was my list of The Lion King. As you guys can tell, I am a sucker for everything Lion King, and no matter what they make about it, I will go check it out. So, hope you guys enjoyed the list. Let me know in the comments if you disagreed with some of these, or maybe you want to talk about some of the properties of Lion King that I intentionally skipped over, like the video games or the books, or maybe some of those defunct Disney attractions. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye! And big thank you to all of my Patreons. Without you, this channel wouldn't be what it is today. Thank you so much.